The lifting crew is ready. The crane operator is in position. The riggers have attached the slings. The signal person is about to give command to lift. Everything appears ready, but just before the operations begin, the HSE manager walks into the work area and says, "Stop. Has the permit to work been issued?" The team has already completed risk assessment. They have prepared job safety analysis. They have even performed a last-minute risk assessment. So why has the work been stopped? Because for certain high-risk activities, planning and inspections alone are not enough. Before the work can begin, it must be formally reviewed, authorized, and controlled through a permit to work. A permit to work, often called a PTW, is a formal written authorization that allows specific high-risk work to be carried out under the controlled conditions. It confirms that hazards have been reviewed, required control measures are in place, responsibilities have been assigned, and the work has been approved by authorized personnel before it begins. A permit to work does not make a job safe by itself. It is not simply a document or a signature. Safety comes from implementing the control measures written on the permit. The permit to work ensures that everyone understands the hazards, follow the agreed precautions, and perform the work within clearly defined limits. Now that we understand what is a permit to work, the next question is, when is a permit to work actually required? Not every task needs one, but certain activities cannot begin until the correct permit has been issued. A very common misunderstanding is that every job needs a permit to work. That is not correct. Routine, low-risk tasks are normally controlled through standard operating procedures, which we call SOPs, and normal supervision. A permit to work typically required for a work that has the potential to cause serious injury, major property damage, or significant environmental impact if it is not properly controlled. So, different companies may have different permit to work systems, but the types of high-risk work are generally very similar. These activities require additional planning, authorization, and supervision because the consequences of a mistake can be severe. Now imagine a welder is preparing to repair a steel structure. The welding and cutting creates sparks and intense heat. We all know that. If flammable materials, gases, or vapors are nearby, a fire or explosion could occur. Before this work begins, a hot work permit confirms that the area has been inspected, fire hazards have been controlled, suitable firefighting equipment is available, and fire watch has been assigned when it is required. Now, consider a worker entering a storage tank for inspection. The atmosphere inside could contain toxic gases, insufficient oxygen, or other hidden dangers. For that, a confined space entry permit confirms that the atmospheric testing has been completed, ventilation is adequate, emergency rescue arrangements are in place, and the entry is properly controlled. Finally, let's return to our lifting operation. A critical lift involves significant hazard that require additional planning and authorization. Before the crane begins lifting the pipe, the permit to work confirms that the lifting plan has been approved, the crane and lifting accessories have been inspected, competent personnel have been assigned, and all required controls measures are in place. Regardless of type of work, the objective is always the same, which is identify hazards, implement the required controls, and formally authorize the activity before it begins. But there is a question: how is a permit to work actually issued? For that, let's follow the process step by step. Step 1. Request the permit. The permit to work process begins before the job starts. The supervisor or the person responsible For the work, they submit a request describing the task, location, equipment involved, and the planned date and time. This allows the authorized person to understand exactly what work is being proposed. Step number 2, review the job. Once the request is received, the job is reviewed. The authorized person confirms the scope of work, identifies potential conflicts with other activities, and ensure the correct type of permit has been selected. If the information is incomplete or the work cannot be controlled safely, permit is not issued until the concerns are resolved. Step number 3, verify risk controls. Before issuing permit to work, the supporting safety document must be verified. The risk assessment identifies the hazards. The job safety analysis explains how the work will be carried out safely. Last-minute risk assessment confirms that the actual worksite conditions are still acceptable. Together, these documents support the permit to work, but they do not replace it. The next step is to inspect the worksite. Authorized person confirms that the required control measures have actually been implemented during or lifting operation. This includes checking the crane setup, ground condition, lifting accessories, exclusion zones, communication systems, and the competence of the lifting team. A permit should never be issued based only on the paperwork. Now, step number 5 is issuing the permit. Once all requirements have been verified, permit to work is approved and issued by the authorized person. The permit clearly defines the work to be performed, the location, the control measures, validity period, and special conditions that must be followed. Only after the permit has been issued, then the work may begin. Next is monitor the work. Now, issuing the permit is not the end of the process. Throughout the work, supervisor and HSE team continues to monitor the activity. They verify the permit conditions are being followed and that no new hazard have been developed. If conditions change or permit requirements are no longer met, the work must be stopped until the situation is reassessed. And finally, close the permit. After the work has been completed, the permit to work must be formally closed. The work area is inspected, the equipment is returned to safe condition, temporary controls are removed where appropriate, and the permit is signed off. Closing the permit confirms that the activity has been completed safely and that the work site have been left safe in a safe condition. A permit to work is much more than a document. It is a control process that begins before the work starts and continues until the job has been completed safely. But even the best permit to work system can fail if common mistakes are ignored. So let's look at some of those mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes is believing that a permit to work is simply a form that needs to be signed. A signature does not make the job safe. The permit only becomes effective when control measures written on it has been fully implemented at the work site. Another common mistake is changing work without updating permit to work. If work location, equipment, method, or scope changes, the original permit may no longer be valid. The job must be stopped, reviewed, and the permit updated or reissued before continuing. Every permit to work has a defined period of validity. If permit expires before the job is completed, the work must not continue automatically. Permit should be reviewed, extended, or reissued according to the organization's procedure. Even after a permit to work has been issued, conditions still can change. Strong winds, heavy rains, equipment failures, nearby activities, or changes in the work area, this may introduce new hazards. When this happens, stop the work, reassess the situation, and only continue it after it is safe to do so. Let's review the permit to work process one final time. Identify the work that requires a permit, review the job and its hazards, verify risk assessment, job safety analysis, and last-minute risk assessment, inspect the work site, issue the permit only after all control measures are in place, monitor the work while it is being performed, and finally, close the permit once the job has been completed safely. Following this process helps protect people, equipment, and the environment. Permit to work is more than a document. It is a system that ensures high-risk work is properly planned, authorized, and controlled before it begins. When everyone understands their responsibilities and follows the permit requirements, we reduce the likelihood of serious incidents and create safer workplace for everyone. Thank you very much for watching Safety with Zahid. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with your colleagues. Stay safe, work smart, and remember, never start high-risk work until the right permit to work is in place.